I don't think so.
Why is that?
I don't know. We're like so young. We got, too much life to live.
Gen Z, your country needs you. Will you fight for your country? Conscription? Mental. Who'd have thought it? In 2024, crackers. Me personally, I wouldn't fight for this government, for this country. The way they've been stamping all over masculinity, the feminist movement have been stamping all over us males for the past 3 or 4 years now, trying to water down the masculine presence in this country. But all of a sudden, they need us. They bloody need us. Let's take a look at a little interview done with the public by the Times. Let's take a little look at what they've got to say.
Everyone's just thinking about TikTok. No one really wants to, fight for the world, I guess.
Do you think that the Gen Z generation would be ready for war if it occurred?
A few.
Probably not, considering they're all used to playing Warzone. They can't get a reboot card, can they? It's not something I think it's a realisation of actually.
This guy screams officer in the medical corps, officer in the admin corps. No disrespect to this guy, but these people have been brought up just solely around TikTok and social media. Even millennials, when in the era that I was born. Now, I served in the armed forces, and my 2 boys, 18 and 16, showing an interest in wanting a career in the armed forces. Both bright, intelligent young men. I wouldn't want them to, and the only way I'd fight for this country is if the government come and took my boys. I'd be joining them. I wouldn't be sat there, all right lads, see you later, keep safe, head down, move fast. No, I'm going with them. I'm not sitting here while my boys are on the front line. I'm going with them, simple as. So let's see what they've got to say.
You're going and doing something out there that is life-changing, life-threatening. It's completely different to what they can play in a virtual world. Probably not mature enough to do that. We're open to media now. We can see what's going on for real life out there. It's not like back in the old days when you didn't know what you was going into until you got there.
I don't think so.
Why is that?
I don't know. We're like so young. We got, too much life to live.
A lot of males these days as well come across quite feminine. I'm not saying that that's a completely bad thing, or all you feminists start getting in the comments. What I'm saying is, right, we need men to be men for situations like this. We need men to be men, so that when the government call for these men, right, it's not a group of Just Stop Oil protesters. No, we won't go. Causing people to die in ambulances and stuff like that. It won't be the raven lunatics that take it upon themselves to be a mouthpiece for the LGBTQ community, right? Let's get them on the front line. Let's get all these women who are stamping all over masculinity. I'm not speaking for every woman, because I know that these feminist mouthpieces don't speak for every woman. If you want to get in the comments, please get in the comments. I'm open to debate. I'm up for the discussion. Every day is a learning day, right? But you can't make the men of this country be scared to be men and then call for them to go and put their life on the line. You can't do it. You just can't do it. It's mental. It's mental. Rishi Sunak can't even put petrol in the car, but yeah, he's all right to send all our men to war, isn't he? Back on.
I'm not ready to go to war.
I think if we go back to the First World War and the Second World War.
Watch what you're saying, Fred. Kathy's listening to you like a hawk. What is it, watching like a hawk? I don't know. You know what I mean. Frederick here, he has to say the right things. He has to. Kathy is giving him the side eye.
Well, there was less communication that you guys now have, and you have so much more.
Fred's doing all right. Kathy's like, yeah. And he's just like, he's on a roll, and he just keeps going.
Media to understand, and so many different variations. So if I go back to the First and the Second World War, people tended to do it for the nation, and I personally, I wonder if that is quite what you guys have the same feeling for.
Yeah, whether you've got the same feeling for where you live and what you do and what you want to protect it, whether you've all got that same.
But when we've got a country that's on its knees and already struggling, and we've got thousands of ex-veterans that are living on the street, might have some drug problems and whatnot and stuff like, I know that it's multifaceted, but this country's on its knees. We're giving billions away to Ukraine. God knows how many millions of, if not billions, into housing all these illegal migrants coming over on the boat. This peace is not something our young men want to fight for, and I totally understand. I'm not about to sit here and you're a coward or you're this or you're that, because we live in different times and the governments have really ruined this country's culture and way of life.
Feeling that we still have got and definitely had back then, but I think social media and all that stuff would make it a very different, any war very different.
The kings and queens meant more back in 100 years ago. I think as well we have such a multicultural.
When our king's mate was Jeffrey Epstein, like, your king needs you.
Relationship with so many people now, and we all have so much variation in ideas and values, which I think is really important.
I think you'd have the strength for it though, don't you?
Yeah,
I think you'd be
you do.
strong enough physically.
But
Send you all out, you know.
Everyone's just thinking about TikTok. Everybody's on their phone, and you know, no one really wants to, you know.
My man's American. Could they have not found English? You know, unless this man's got a British passport, yeah, then why are we not talking to English people? The mainstream media, fake news. There's no effort put into this, is there?
Fight for the world, I guess.
I really don't think they would. I think a lot of them don't want war. I think they would back away from it. Chatting to my children.
So far they've chose a young, overweight gamer, an American, two old couples.
Last night they were saying, we were having this conversation, we've been having this conversation since in the news it was, you know, the head of the British Army talking about young ones doing military service. And they were saying they wouldn't necessarily want to do that, but they were thinking maybe there should be something alternative to juvie where people are given the option to maybe do something more regimented, a bit like military, or choose.
I'm not going to say nothing bad about people in prison or the LGBTQT community or the legal immigrants in this country. Now, we've got to take into account, right, we've got to be able to trust the guy to our left and right of us. So when we're in battle and you've got Smithy and Jono who are serving time in prison for SA charges on women or children, like, how is that going to work? Or you've got Smithy and Jono, two big time drug dealers who just want to get out of prison to get the Rolex on, something like that. These guys are not going to be. It needs to be a screening system in place, and the right people need to go, unless they're just going to be used as cannon fodder.
Something to go into like that instead of doing juvenile. Yeah.
I think they would, but I think it would need. It's a whole different ball game to what the wars previously have been, where I mean, any war now would possibly wipe us all out very quickly.
I think it depends on the person. It depends on the young person, how much training they've had.
Okay. Do you think you would be ready for the war?
I think I also need more training.
Depends what kind of role it would be. I'm not a physical person. You know, I play computer games in terms of the war, but I wouldn't be able to fight it. But in terms of maybe, you know, intelligence, drones.
I personally feel we probably wouldn't be able to cope.
Fair one. You know, one thing that they have got to their advantage, they are very technology driven. So yeah, it would give them an advantage, and that type of job role takes some extensive training. You know, when you're dealing with live munitions, it's a totally different ball game, isn't it, than playing modern warfare. But yeah, no, there is something to be taken away from that.
With a mass war, if that's the way you want to put it, because I think there would be less patriotism.
A mass war. I do not like the English. I will press the button. Boom. World over.
Probably need to learn how to use some like intense warfare AI or something. And also do a lot more push-ups.
How do you think you do without your phone, without social media if you get to go to war?
You need more than a lot of push-ups. You need to be ready up here as well as physically. You know,
I would be. Well, I feel like with social media, I wouldn't care about that. It's just like more so risking, like, you know, everything to fight. That's like the worst part about it, I guess.
Again, as long as there's still some kind of communication with home, I think that'd be the biggest pressure, is having nothing at all. And you know, it's not like you can when you're out on the front line just charge your phone up.
On the front line eating biscuit browns. Oh. Give us some biscuit brains. Listen, I don't think we're going to go. I think that the head of the army, the chief of the army, has put some political pressure on Rishi Sunak, on the government, because the army's been underfunded for a very, very long time now. Very long time. You know, we're going back 10, 15 years at least. You know, lads were out in Afghan and didn't have the right equipment 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's absolutely crackers. So I think that he's put the pressure on the government for the government to start throwing more money at the British Army. Who knows, eh? Who knows with this government? He managed to lock us in our homes like little animals for 2 years, didn't he? You know, I was homeschooling our children for 2 years for us to then put them back into school and say we're not doing a good enough job. Hang on a minute. Rishi, we've just homeschooled them for 2 years.
You know, if it gets smashed,
there's no TikTok.
No.
That's another topic. Let me know in the comments if you want to talk about the educational system, because that's doing my head in.
No TikTok, no Insta, yeah.
Yeah, you're controlled out there in terms of what you can do once you're on the front line. It's not, you haven't got access to that much.
I come from a generation that had to do national service, 2 years national service. I did it in the army. And I think everybody should do national service, maybe 6 months, not necessarily in the military, maybe community service, but that gives them self-confidence, gives them a chance to learn and help other people. I just think everybody needs to do it.
What do you think about having to do national service?
I mean, no, I don't think it should be forced. If needed, if it's like...
It's mad, isn't it? This subject is so multifaceted. It's unbelievable. Because we talk about national service, but they're already keeping our children in education for longer. I'd love to know what the statistics are on that, if it's doing any better for society or not. Because you're in school, you're in the education. Let's say you go to high school, college, university. You're not getting out of university till you're 21. So what? Apply for university. And then you don't have to go to war. How does something like this even work? You're taking 2 years. Let's say you do 2 years national service. You're taking 2 years from a life that's already short anyway. It's crackers. I don't even know how it'd work. I don't even know if it's the right thing to do. Let me know in the comments what you think.
Absolutely, there may be, but no, not really.
No, I agree. I think it also might give people a chance to get out of a rut they might be in. Young people who might be maybe caught up in a gang thing. Actually, it gives them an out, an escape to join something else that's completely away from that, away from home, that gives them, just an escape and a new route.
Do you think that Gen Z is just, you know, a weaker generation than those who fought in the First World War, Second World War?
Yes, I do.
Why do you
I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. We just was never really brought up around that, you know, type of...
Yeah, you know, you had 15-year-old boys lying about their age to go out and fight for the country. 15-year-old boys, possibly even younger than that. I just know of stories of 15-year-old boys lying about their age to go and fight for this country. The heroism that these young displayed back then is just uncomparable to the young of today. It's absolutely crackers.
Field or, you know, anything like that. So I don't think we're ready at all. You definitely need some years of training to even think about that.
Probably physically, in terms of battlefields, in terms of intelligence, in terms of communication and information technology, probably not. Okay. And probably in modern wars, we fight more using technology than via weapons, maybe, potentially. Probably weak in terms of what resources we've got here and what we leave here while people are out at war. But apart from that, be a good shot.
I think there's like a lot of stereotypes, like being lazy and kind of like...
There's always going to be ground forces, always, and yeah, there's jobs for them for sure. In terms of the infantry and the more specialist roles and on the front line, we need a certain type of person, and fitness is a massive thing.
Like, I don't know, feeding into, I guess, that whole Gen Z stereotype of like not wanting to do anything. It's fair. Like, everyone jokes like, oh, I don't want to work, I don't want to do this. But at the end of the day, like, I think people who can and like want to work will be pretty motivated to do so, but we also need our TikTok, Instagram time.
No, we're all the same. Okay. We all start the same, and then we develop. But I think one of the problems today is that it's a great blame society. You know, blame somebody else, whatever happened. So you lose a bit of self-confidence because, well, it's his fault, not my fault. But no, we're all the same basically, and we can learn. Yes.
Yeah, No, I think you're right. I think they'd be just as capable if push came to shove. Absolutely. They're a bright bunch. They've got a lot going for them.
Women being conscripted.
They'd have to be, wouldn't they? Oh, you'd have to be ready. Got no choice.
I think, yeah, why not, really? Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's how it is, isn't it, now? I mean, they weren't conscripted back in the old days, but they still did a huge amount of work that probably nobody...
Yeah, women should. Of course they should. They fought for this. The suffragettes fought for this in the 40s and they won. So of course women should be conscripted. There's plenty of jobs for them. They've been complaining that they can't get in the special forces. They've been protesting and campaigning to get into the Marines. They've been protesting and campaigning to get into all these jobs that were predominantly or only exclusive to males, and they've been winning it. You've got FST commanders in the artillery that are women who are on the front line. You've got all these physical training instructor influencers all over TikTok. Get them on the front line. It's only fair. Of course women should be conscripted. My daughter's 15, okay, so she wouldn't be getting sent anyway. But if she was 18 and she had no children and she was physically able, if me 2 boys were getting carted off, and other men all up and down the country, I'd only expect the same. Again, let me know in the comments what you think about this, because I don't know what I would really do until it happened. But it's frustrating and it's stressful.
He even knows they did, really. Whereas now, I think, yeah, absolutely. Even if it wasn't physically fighting, but even then, why not, really? Our son was in the Navy, so we've heard quite a few stories from him, not in the war, but, you know, you hear a lot about women. I mean, when he was there, it was all guys, wasn't it? But now it's women in submarines.
Absolutely crackers.
Yeah.
So things change, don't they?
And I think only now that ladies are being recognised for what they did do in the wars, and I think that would probably energise females now.
Imagine you were a woman in a submarine with like 80 other naval seamen in a submarine for like 3 weeks under the water. Oh my God, that'd be carnage.
Because there's so many more now in the forces. It's a fabulous thing in that respect, and women are strong. I don't think they were ever felt as, 100 years ago, they were always felt as the...
That's it, Fred. Keep it going. Kathy's still giving him the side eye. And she's like, don't you say anything bad about women, Fred.
The non-sort of dominant side of the human race, but the women are, you can see that how it's rising.
You're in the good books, Fred.
Well, why not? I don't see why that's a question. So, yeah, anyone. Absolutely anyone. Anyone who would be willing, yeah, I just think absolutely.
Because in my day, it was just the boys who went into military service. It was,
And I think a lot of women, and when I say a lot of women, I mean the mouthpieces online that are taking it upon themselves to speak for every woman. No one forgets what women did during the Great Wars, because what you women did, amazing. It was amazing. You held this country together, working in the factories, looking after the children in the schools, while the men were away dying for this country. And then you fought for your equal opportunities, for your equal rights, and you got it. So yeah, I think women should be conscripted. So to conclude, I would not fight for this country. Well, I say I wouldn't want to. Not for this government, not for this this country has done nothing but make it hard for us men to be men. All the stuff happening with Andrew Tate and, that's another subject in its own, but it's all just crackers, absolutely crackers. But anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, it was a bit of a serious one. Tried to be a bit humorous, but if you've liked it, go on, give us a subscribe, help this channel grow. The algorithm's not been on my side because I changed the niche of content, so it's not knowing who to spit it out to. So if you could just engage with the content and give us a little subscribe, I'd be really grateful. But for now, thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.